Juice fast day 26, water fast day 4. And today is a Saturday, which makes it a great day for grounding. Today is Saturday, which is Saturn's day. As Saturn rules Capricorn, and Capricorn is an earth sign, it is the ideal day to get back in touch with the earth. And one of the best ways for you to do this is to find a bit of grass or a bit of soil that has quite deep layers of soil, and take off your shoes and socks and just spend a little bit of time walking around. As your feet connect to the soil, you can feel energy. Your little feet are like battery packs. They can absorb energy from the soil. I've been working in a garden today. I went and helped a friend. He had a shed base to do. We were digging out the foundations. And it's a lot of fun. It's been a while since I've been out in the garden doing work. The job I do now is more factory work. And I think, honestly, we're better off with trees than factories. You have to be careful where you decide to do this, as there are a lot of places that have sharp things on the ground. You can end up stepping on some broken glass, other kind of spiky, unsavory things. It's very important when you first start doing it to be careful where you tread. The first time I did this was the first time that I went to Stonehenge for the summer solstice. I was in my young hedonistic hippie days, and I had taken a powerful acid tab on the drive up. I wasn't driving. Although the guy that was driving had also taken a powerful acid tab on the way up. Just luckily for us, he was quite good at maintaining control of the vehicle. We got there in one piece, and when I got out of the post office van that we had converted to put a bed in the back with a little bit of storage space underneath, the first thing I did was started removing items of clothing, mainly my shoes and socks. I did end up down to my pants at one point, but then put some clothes on before I went walking around amongst other people. The feeling of being connected to nature, having your feet on the ground, being surrounded with plants and trees, it's nothing but greenery. It's unbeatable. I felt such a deep sensitivity with the earth. As I was walking across grass, it was like I felt the grass had suction caps on it, like octopus tentacles, and they were gripping my feet, and everything felt divine. I walked through the entire car park and main area for Stonehenge barefoot. At one point, I came across a group of people who I had managed to conjure up out of the floor. And I was aware that I was under the effects of some powerful psychedelic drugs, so I knew that they could have been hallucinations. But the perspective that I got was one of them But the perspective that I got was 1 minute I'm looking at an area where there's just ground. The next minute, people have opened up out of the ground and just appeared as normal-sized people of different types. There were men and women, there were children, and it was like their dress sense was changing the closer I got. And not just slightly changing, it was like 1 minute people were wearing denim, then it was black leather, then it was pink leather, and accessories like holding whips. I didn't know if these people were real or if I had just imagined them. But I walked closer and ended up walking amongst them. And it was one of the most surreal experiences. I do believe that there were real people there and that the hallucination was the bits around it, like what they were wearing. But then who really can tell? I went through the whole experience feeling more in touch with nature than I ever had. I went up and I remember physically touching the stones, even though everything that I researched about it since says that you weren't allowed near the stones and that you wouldn't have been on the year that I went. But what I remember is there was actually a group of us near the stones, and I was leaning up against one of the stones to roll a cigarette. So it is very hard to make sense of what was and what wasn't. One of the greatest experiences I had there was a Hare Krishna group came beating drums and holding up a big sign, and there was music and there was a bit of chanting. And as they came closer and closer, I was stood still and just gently swaying and watching them. In what felt like 5 minutes, they had made their way to me and was standing amongst me, surrounding me, and I felt the energy. I was quite confused at the time because this old man who was holding the sign came up to me and barged into me with his shoulder. It wasn't hard, but it was enough to get me to move. And I kind of looked at him as if, surely you're not starting any trouble here. And then he barged me again, but gently. And I looked around and realized I had been standing still as they approached me and everyone else was moving. So I started swaying again. I walked with them for about 10 minutes, just enjoying the music, enjoying the drums, and taking in a full scope of what they were doing. It seemed like they were trying to loosen people up. This is what you've got to be careful of when you're grounding. Luckily, this one hasn't been broken, though you do tend to find a lot of broken glass in the nearby woods and parks. There was also an area that the Hare Krishnas had set up where they were feeding people for free with vegan food and mushroom tea. And I have to admit, it was the tastiest meal that I ever thought could be possible. I was heavily into eating meat and dairy and eggs and all of the animal products and sugary snacks. But to have something that was vegan and packed full of flavor, it was something I didn't think was possible. I appreciate what I was shown on that day. It gave me a different side to nature. It helped me form a lot of the mentality that I carry with me today. And it helped me see people that were part of what initially looks like strange religious cult-like followings. When you witness the way that they are trying to casually and subtly deliver the good message to you. The old man had got me to realize what I was doing wrong without any words whatsoever. And once I started moving to the beat of music, I felt a surge of energy shooting up from the inside of my body. Possibly from being grounded, possibly from the psychedelic experience. Psychedelics, by the way, it's a cheat code. It's good to maybe have the experience if you are that way inclined. You're looking for a thrill, a ride that once you get on will last for 8 to 13 hours. But I think that the best way to do it is more the natural way to do it. There's DMT in our system. It's in our third eye. It's composed by our bodies. Nothing we need is outside of our bodies. We can pretty much make anything that we need to. I think maybe apart from vitamin C, the ascorbic acid, which we would get from fruits, everything else gets made up by our bodies. There's people that usually try to debunk veganism and talk about where are you getting your creatine, where are you getting this, where are you getting that? And it's like, well, if you're getting it from the animals and the animals you eat just eat plants, where are they getting it? I think that the best way to have the full psychedelic experience would be to clean up your vessel and allow the energies to do what they were designed to do. Because all of this would not have been placed inside of our bodies if we weren't meant to get the experience. And you can't take heaven by force. The amount of times I've had psychedelic experiences that have been a perfect cross between heaven and hell. It's a perfect duality experience. Everything looks both beautiful and ugly at the same time. And you try and figure out why. It's like, but if I can see whatever I want to see, then why am I not seeing it all perfect? It's because we do not see through singularity. Many of us have parasites. If you would take sight to mean sight, para means alongside. If there is another sight alongside your sight inside of your body, that is living in duality. And even Jesus said, if thine eye be single, then thy whole body shall fill with light. I believe that the scriptures were trying to teach us this, but they've been hijacked by people that don't have our best interests at heart. It's been hijacked by people that want to earn money, gain power, and abuse the scriptures, lock up the books and tell you what they say. And many years ago, you weren't allowed to look at certain books. You'd have to talk to a scholar, a religious scholar, to tell you what it says in that book so you don't get it mistaken. Sounds to me like they're fully aware of what we're capable of if we manage to adhere to these scriptures and follow these traditions. That's why a lot of people, they follow religions for image. They like to go to the churches, put a lot of money into the collection plates, make sure that people see them doing it as well. And what's interesting is it says in the scriptures that these people will get their rewards. It's like the people that do their fasting and they have to broadcast it to everyone. We will get our rewards. But the ones who, they do it silently. What matters to them is the deeds, not the recognition of them. They are the ones that get truly noticed by the divine. They are the ones that get further up the ladder than the rest of us. And they are the types of people that I aspire to be like. There was a group of Muslims, I forget what their name is now, but they used to go, they went round with shaved heads, shaved beards, shaved eyebrows. They would drink wine in the morning and do a lot of things that would get people to look at them in a negative light and see them as quite rude and inconsiderate. But at the same time, they were going around doing many good deeds, putting in a lot of work for charities and helping a lot of people. The idea behind it was they were trying not to do things for praise, and they put themselves in extreme situations where they wouldn't be praised, and in fact, outcasted. Not that I believe going that extreme with it is the answer, but I like the spirit. I like what they were attempting. And I do try to be more like that. I try not to have expectations from things. The guy I was helping at work today, he asked me if I could help him do his shed base and dig out the foundations. I agreed to it immediately. He said the next week, when he mentioned it, that he was going to pay me for it. I said, I already agreed, man. You don't need to sell it to me. But I have no expectations. The benefit for me is being able to help with some of the experience that I have. Whatever comes of it is a bonus. And I would like that to be the way I do things in life, because I've not always been like this. I find that whatever we do, a good way to tell if the direction you're going in is a good one is by measuring yesterday. Say, am I in a better place now than I was yesterday? If the answer is yes, then that's enough. Take it day by day. Live in the present. If you worry about the past, or worry about the future, or keep digging up elements of the past, or try and stress yourself, give yourself maybe a headache, you're going to keep yourself behind. Whereas staying in the present moment, trying to be more than think, trying to feel, you'll find that you don't have as many problems as you previously could see. Nobody's perfect, and nobody expects you to be. I think everybody deserves to experience living their best life. And this place is here for us to learn that. We get to learn all of the different types of distractions, all of the things that will pull you off the path and make you forget that you're even on a path in the first place. The path is very straight and narrow, and it does get eventually so straight and narrow that you can't even turn around. When you get that far on the path, that's when you're near. That's when you're near mastery. Mastery of your body, mastery of your world, mastery of anything that could be considered a demon. A demon is something that tries to make you less of a man. And that is women as well, because we are all men. We are all mankind. You get two types of men. You get men and womb men. So if you are a man with a womb, that makes you a womb man. Demons try to make us less of our own kind. They try and take away. D means from. They're taking away from us, just like parasites. It's a bit of a stretch to say that demons and parasites are the same entities. However, they do share the same traits. They will come and eat at your table without providing anything. They will talk into your ear about things that you know are not correct. But when you listen to something on repeat, it's very difficult to maintain that integrity with what you know to be true. I like not knowing about where my future's going. I think it's good to have enough freedom to be able to alter your plans in the moment, as that is how you have true freedom. There's no such thing as being free to a point. You're either free or you are still shackled. Liberty. Liberty, a lot of people think liberty means freedom. Liberty is not freedom. If you are on a ship and you get to a dock of a country, they can grant you liberty. That means you have permission to be on that land, dock at that land, and have a certain level of freedom within a confine. You're not free to roam the country. At least that's how things are meant to be, according to the laws of the land. Liberty is not freedom. Finding true freedom, that truly comes from letting go. Once you're able to let go of all of the things that are trying to take away from you being the best of your kind, that is true freedom. Until then, we'll always have something trying to test us. Some urge to go do something that we know we really shouldn't because it is a little bit bad, but well, you gotta live. by all means, live, have experiences. Try to be aware that these experiences are not going to carry you that far when it comes to freedom. You will always have something there that tries to dictate to you what you should be doing next. Something inside of you that decides what it wants to eat and decides that you should eat it and sends you a chemical signal to your brain telling you you are hungry for that thing. And these things are usually the fakest, most processed, most hard to digest, least amount of nutrients for your body, most amount of nutrients for the stowaways and parasites. I don't really want to tell anybody how to live. I think what I'm more interested in is showing people how I live, telling people about how I have lived, and letting people know that there is another option out there if you feel like you're ready to make that jump. It's making that leap of faith as well, because there is a lot of misinformation out there amongst the information, and it's very difficult to discern for yourself what is right and what is wrong without trying it. There's a lot of people that believe that you will die if you don't drink water for 3 days. However, there are people out there that have done week-long dry fasts. There's people that have done longer. I think the longest I heard about was a 9-day dry fast. So what they are telling us doesn't align with what people are capable of. They tell us you need protein to build muscle, as I highly doubt that you do, or at least don't need as much as they tell you do. I've tested this by doing juice fasting while going to the gym, maintaining the weights that I was able to lift, even pushing harder weights. I mean, I don't think that you would find it as easy to build weights eating just fruit or just fruit juice and smoothies. It would take a lot more effort, but once you get there, you would be really strong and not have any of the downside toxic residue of any of the protein to deal with, especially if it's this whey protein. Whey is something that used to be considered rubbish until they found a way to sell it to people. It's not going to be good for you. You don't need that kind of protein if you are consuming protein. Peanut butter would be fine. If you're allergic to peanuts, then there are other means of getting protein through seeds or tofu or beans, potatoes. Now, I do know there's people who have managed to build a lot of muscle without eating any of this. No nuts, no fruit. I mean, they claim to. I've not seen it personally, but it's something that I do believe. Josh X, he's someone that does bodybuilding on just fruits, and I believe he was bench pressing 100 kilograms. So it doesn't seem as if having a lack of protein would stop you being able to form muscle. I think the reason we're given so much misinformation is for control, as knowledge is power, and these people like to have power. But the power is always ours to take back. One of the things that I noticed when I was hanging out with BDSM people is that it's the slave and not the master that has the control. Because the master can only do as he is doing while the slave allows it. And we are in a similar situation in what we've been placed in here. And I don't even think it's as evil as we're led to believe. All of this was permitted by God, and we have willingly walked into it for the experience. Once we ascend these challenges, we're going to be brighter and higher than we've ever experienced before. And after that, we'll have to plunge down into the depths again. It's like they say, if you want your branches to reach heaven, your roots must reach down to hell. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.